I remember that crisp dawn like it was yesterday, the kind where the Texas sun just starts peeking over the horizon, casting long shadows across the dusty fields, painting the mesquite bushes in hues of gold and amber. And there I was, Alex Harper, third-generation owner of this sprawling 250-acre livestock farm just outside Dallas, staring in disbelief at this gleaming new fence that had sprung up overnight, blocking the old gravel path my grandfather carved out back in 1952 with nothing but sweat, determination, and a stubborn mule team. A path that wasn't just some shortcut. No, it was the lifeline to my land. The only way in and out without circling miles around through winding back roads choked with traffic and potholes. And now it was sealed off by this monstrosity of metal and spite, courtesy of my neighbor, Sharon Caldwell, who thought she could muscle me out for her greedy developer pals, her actions dripping with the arrogance of someone who'd never felt the burn of honest labor under the relentless sun. Oh, the rage bubbled up inside me, slow at first, like a storm building on the plains, thunder rumbling in the distance as clouds gather heavy and dark, because this wasn't just about a fence, it was about erasing history, stealing legacy, and Sharon, this 54-year-old marketing exec who'd rolled in from Houston 2 years ago in her sleek black Mercedes with plates screaming Queen Bee 1, had gotten herself voted in as president of the Golden Valley Residences HOA, turning what was once peaceful farmland into a sea of identical mansions with fake stone facades and manicured lawns that screamed suburbia. Her house perched right where my access road sliced through. $900,000 worth of pretentious architecture overlooking my grazing pastures that she deemed an eyesore, the kind that clashed with her vision of upscale perfection. And there she stood that morning, in her designer robe, smirking as she explained how her new automated gate was all about community protection, her perfume clashing with the fresh scent of earth and hay, a synthetic floral assault that made my stomach churn, while I clenched my fists, thinking about my daughter Sophia, 17 now, who raises award-winning steers through her youth club, how we'd lost her mother to a tragic wreck on icy roads for years back, a loss that still aches like an open wound, replaying in my mind during quiet nights when the coyotes howl, making us cling tighter to this farm that's more than dirt. It's our heart, our fight, our everything, a sanctuary where memories linger in every fence post and barn beam. But Sharon didn't stop at the fence. No, she shoved a thick stack of papers at me, a 52-page usage contract demanding $600 monthly fees, plus upkeep and liability waivers, all wrapped in excuses about safety and appearance, her voice dripping with fake concern, laced with a condescension that grated like sandpaper on raw skin. And when I pushed back, citing the decades-old easement recorded in county deeds, yellowed pages I'd pored over in the dim light of my office, she just laughed, threatened to sick the law on me for trespassing. And sure enough, Deputy Gonzalez, her buddy from the local golf league, rolled up in his cruiser, suggesting I compromised to avoid trouble, his badge glinting in the sun as if it were her personal shield, his words echoing with the bias of shared tea times and clubhouse drinks. But what really ignited the fire in my gut was when Sophia's champion steer, Daisy, fell ill that day, turning a quick vet run into a grueling hour-long detour, dust choking the air in my old pickup, every bump a reminder of the injustice, the engine groaning under the strain as I navigated forgotten lanes, the way Sharon's smug grin burned into my memory, unaware she'd awakened a resolve forged from generations of hard-won battles against land grabbers, battles my grandfather recounted around campfires, tales of droughts and deals that tested the soul. As the days dragged on, the harassment ramped up, subtle at first, then relentless, like a noose tightening, each twist cutting deeper into my daily life. Sharon filing bogus complaints about my threatening demeanor, starting a neighborhood chat group called Secure Horizons Alliance, where she spun tales of me as some volatile widower running a shady operation in my sheds, her messages pinging like relentless rain on a tin roof, rallying her cronies, folks with fancy titles but shallow roots, to fund private security patrols, their fake badges patrolling like they own the horizon, headlights sweeping my fields at odd hours, casting eerie glows that disrupted the night's peace, and I, working days as a plumbing contractor to keep the farm afloat, felt the weight pressing down, tools in hand feeling heavier with each job, but quitting wasn't in my blood. So I shelled out $900 for a professional mapper to trace every boundary. Watching him work under the relentless sun, lasers, and stakes marking truths Sharon ignored, sweat beading on his brow as he double-checked measurements against faded maps. And that's when the first crack appeared, his report revealing her fence encroached 2 feet onto county land, violating every setback rule. Pages of diagrams and coordinates that I clutched like a lifeline. So I fired off a violation notice to the authorities, turning her weapon against her. The satisfaction mingling with exhaustion as I imagined her reaction, but oh, she fought back dirty, sending cease and desist letters from her husband Derek's firm, Whitman and Associates, threats of lawsuits for emotional torment and business sabotage, papers that smelled of expensive ink but reeked of desperation, legalese twisting like vines around my thoughts. And in those late nights, poring over them by lamplight, the barn's familiar scent of leather and feed grounding me, the creak of floorboards underfoot a reminder of enduring strength, Sophia catching me there, her eyes fierce with youth's fire, whispering we wouldn't surrender, echoing her mother's unyielding spirit, her hug a brief anchor in the storm, and suddenly, unexpected allies emerged, like Henry and Martha Ellis, our elderly neighbors married 55 years, dropping by with thermos of hot brew and stories of similar developer squeezes, their wrinkled hands steady as they shared faded photos of old disputes. And Sophia's club mentor, Ms. Reynolds, urging me to log every slight, photos, notes, testimonies, because in this war, proof was ammunition, her advice delivered over coffee in her cluttered kitchen, surrounded by ribbons from past fairs. The tension escalated like a thriller unfolding in slow motion. Sharon calling an urgent HOA assembly at the local hall, her slideshow blasting images of my unsightly barn snapped from her rooftop perch, each click revealing zoomed-in shots of weathered wood and rusting tools, proposing I fund a $25,000 barrier of hedges to shield her view, threatening to drag my insurers into court for devaluing her paradise, her words echoing off the walls like accusations in a courtroom drama. And though I hated those stuffy gatherings, the fluorescent hum and scent of cheap carpet making my skin crawl, I marched in with Sophia and Henry flanking me, the room thick with stale air and buzzing lights, chairs scraping as eyes turned, whispers rippling like waves, and I laid out my evidence. The maps, the old deeds from 1952, calm but firm, my voice steady despite the pounding heart. Watching her facade crack when she blurted about ties to Horizon Builders for future growth, the silence deafening. As whispers spread, revealing this wasn't petty neighbor beef but a calculated plot to choke me out and snag my acres for cheap. Henry's grin hinting at unraveling schemes, his old eyes twinkling with the wisdom of battles past. And suddenly the crowd shifted, seeing they'd been pawns in her game. Murmurs turning to questions, Sophia rising to speak with poise beyond her years, sharing tales of our family's grit, the land's soul. Her voice cutting through the hostility, touching hearts, evoking nods from unlikely corners, even making Derek wince at his wife's slip, exposing potential ethics breaches in his legal dealings, his face paling under the harsh lights. But Sharon didn't fold. No, she went full assault, lodging phony health alerts about my herd endangering kids, reports typed with venomous precision, anonymous tips to Sophia's school painting me as neglectful, pulling my girl from class for interrogations that left her in tears, her backpack slung low as she recounted the humiliation, then targeting my plumbing gigs, whispering doubts to clients until contracts vanished. $18,000 worth of work gone in a blink, phone calls going unanswered, the silence louder than any rejection, and her online smear fest in a group named Vigilant Neighbors United, posting twisted pics of my peaceful cattle as threats, captions laced with lies that spread like wildfire, the bile rising in my throat as I hired Laura Vargas, a sharp rural rights lawyer, dipping into savings I couldn't spare, $6,000 down, but her eyes lighting up at my files, declaring it systematic bullying to force a sale, her office cluttered with case files and coffee stains, and through discovery, the dirt poured out, Sharon's $52,000 tax debt fueling her rush, HOA cash siphoned for that fence, $28,000 embezzled, a trail of similar schemes in 4 prior neighborhoods. Always harassment leading to coerced deals, ledgers revealing patterns like a detective's board, and local scribe Mike Torres sniffed out the scandal, turning our plight into headline fodder. His notepad scribbling furiously over diner meetings, drawing more victims forward, a widow fined for her flower beds, a vet harassed over his therapy animal, an old pair forced to uproot a family tribute. And support swelled, the Farmers League chipping in funds, meetings in dusty halls where hands clasped in solidarity, even Derek slipping me a dossier of her misdeeds, his conscience finally stirring as he confessed her skimming ways, his voice low under the cover of dusk. The emotional grind wore deep, Sophia facing school taunts from poisoned minds, whispers in hallways cutting like knives, me tempted by buyout offers in weak moments, envelopes arriving like temptations from the devil. But Henry's porch wisdom pulled me back, reminding me of my late wife's love for this soil, her laughter echoing in memories of harvest moons. And then Laura's bombshell hit. Digging into ancient records to uncover I didn't just have easement rights, I owned the road outright. A plotting blunder from the developers assuming it public, dusty archives yielding faded ink that changed everything. Meaning Sharon's fence squatted on my turf, her $60,000 barrier now my asset, and deeper, emails linking her to Horizon Builders' $250,000 kickback promise, board bribes, even county official payoffs, smelling of racketeering, fraud across wires and mail, threads of corruption unraveling like pulled yarn. And in that revelation, the plan sparked. Why tear it down when I could? Repurpose it, charge access fees, mirror her demands back at her. Legal as day under Texas private road statutes. The irony tasting like sweet tea on a hot day, and as stars dotted the night sky, Sophia and I plotted on the porch, her laughter cutting the tension, Henry toasting the irony with a cold one, his stories weaving into our strategy, me whispering updates at my wife's marker, feeling her strength fuel this turnaround, the cool grass underfoot grounding my resolve. Assembling the team felt like scripting a heist, Henry dusting off his old county mapping skills, tools from decades past gleaming anew, Martha rallying volunteers like a seasoned commander, her phone calls buzzing with efficiency, my buddy Marcus Lee wiring solar tech for automated plates and cams, circuits humming with innovation under his skilled hands, Laura forming Frontier Trail Ventures LLC for protection, paperwork shuffling like leaves in wind, permits grinding through bureaucracy at $9,200 cost, but approved, recycling her posts into our booth, rate set at $600 monthly or $6 per pass, researched fair by Martha, her notes meticulous as a scholar's, and the build buzzed with community spirit, locals donating supplies, trucks rumbling in with loads of goodwill, Sophia filming for her viral channel Farm Kid Resistance, hitting thousands of views, clips capturing sweat and smiles, Mike embedding for stories, his camera lens capturing the human drama, Laura filing suits against Horizon and tipping feds on crimes, documents flying like arrows, notices posted sparking subdivision panic, Sharon's frantic meetings backfiring when Derek spilled her payoffs, marriages straining under the revelations, our system humming with backups and security, a model of smart revenge, evenings in the makeshift office blending with scents and circuit snaps, gravel deliveries echoing triumph, the air alive with purpose, and by launch, it gleamed professional, test beeps sweeter than victory bells, a symphony of justice unfolding. Sharon's unraveling was a spectacle of desperation, filing sham safety claims that inspectors praised instead, their reports glowing with commendations for our overbuilt standards, caught on cam bribing officials, envelope exchanges frozen in digital evidence, hiring out-of-state picketers whose accents betrayed the farce, signs waving awkwardly under Texas winds, juggling sock puppets online to defame us, profiles multiplying like shadows at dusk, but the peak absurdity hit when footage nabbed. Her midnight sabotage, tumbling into wet cement like a bad comedy, her flailing limbs captured in grainy night vision, viral gold on Sophia's feed racking millions, shares exploding across screens, her 911 plea a punchline echoed in local bars, and Derek's injunction flop, costing her fees, courtroom echoes of denial ringing hollow, ethics probes tanking his practice, letters from the Bar Association sealing his fate. Bored rats fleeing, resignations piling like fallen leaves, businesses backing us, discounts flowing like streams after rain. Media swarming, turning our stand into legend, flashbulbs popping like fireworks, Sophia shining in spotlights, her words poised and passionate. And instead of jailing her for mischief, I offered penance. Volunteer at Sophia's club or face charges. The mind game delicious. Her reluctant hours mucking stalls a poetic twist. Her taxes exploding public. Home tagged for seizure. Notices fluttering in the breeze like flags of defeat. Horizon ditching her. Amid probes, conference calls cutting ties with cold precision. Her hack attempt snaring a teen we flipped to our side. The kid's skills blooming under mentorship. First week hauls $3,200. Monthly takes soaring to $14,000. Ledgers filling with promise. Chopper whirs and transaction chimes our symphony. Sophia eyeing business studies. Her notebooks brimming with ideas. Sharon's AG complaints boomeranging praise. Vets visits turning into accolades for our herd's health. Eco lies flopping flat. Inspectors chuckling at the absurdity. CPS farce backfiring on her sanity. Reports filed away as baseless. Tax probes clearing me while sinking her. Audits revealing her evasions in stark numbers. Family abandoning ship. Social media blocks like slamming doors. Residents partying in solidarity. Grills smoking with Unity's aroma. Our model light statewide. Officials touring with notebooks in hand. Scholarships funded from profits aiding 18 rural youths. Applications pouring in like rain, 600. Acres preserved. Deeds signed under celebratory skies. Festivals drawing crowds. Tents buzzing with laughter and lessons. Me finding love with Ms. Reynolds, now principal. Her gentle presence healing old scars. Henry and Martha as surrogate kin. Family dinners warm with stories. Our doc nabbing awards. Screenings packed with applause. Book-topping charts. Signings drawing lines of admirers. Emails flooding from kindred fighters. Tales of inspiration fueling hope. The climax crashed at the packed county hearing. Sharon's plea for shutdown devolving into hysterics. Labeling me a terrorist. Her voice cracking under the strain. But Laura countered with damning timelines. Embezzlement proofs. Conspiracy tapes. Screens blazing her downfall in vivid detail. Sophia's eloquent plea earning thunderous claps and a Texas Tech scholarship nod. Her future brightening like dawn. Henry unveiling forgotten maps, claiming extra 60 acres. Fraud charges looming like storm clouds. FBI cuffing her mid-ovation. Metal clicks echoing justice. Apologies flowing. New HOA paying upkeep. Ordinances passed honoring farms. Our empire growing to 4 sites. Employing 10. Inspiring laws nationwide. Sharon sentenced to 20 months federal time. Stripped of everything. Reduced to menial work far away. Shunned by kin. But our rise. Scholarships. Conservations. Festivals. Personal joys. Proved resilience's power. Closing the chapter with peace under Texas skies. Knowing we'd turned torment into triumph. Legacy secured for Sophia and beyond. Now, looking back, was this justice served right? Or did the scales tip too far into vengeance, blurring lines of morality in the name of family and fairness? What do you think? When does standing your ground cross into something darker? And would you fight the same way if your heritage hung in the balance?